Because there's that's the only guarantee of finger failure, right? Is when you're typing and someone else is watching, all of a sudden you type 3 words per minute.
And 2 of them are spelled wrong.
Yeah. Yeah. We should pick a song every day, Denise, and just play the music right up until 2 o'clock, and then.
I used to play WKRP in Cincinnati. Remember that?
Yeah, that's right. We'll have to make that part of our sessions.
I think I'm dating myself.
Well, but that's okay. Yeah, it's good. We can either give some nostalgia to the people who are of a certain vintage, and then we can we can introduce it to a whole new generation.
Bring it back. Bring it back.
Yeah, my girls love the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
I think everybody loves that show. They're on now. You see the commercials go on. And all you gotta do is still see like Will Smith dance or Carlton do his dance. You're laughing with them.
I just watched they did a reunion show on HBO.
Oh yeah.
So it was cool. Will Smith still looks good.
The dad, right? He passed away.
Yeah. He was a big dude. I didn't know that he was like a classically trained Shakespearean actor, like stage actor.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Most of those things, like there's a lot of those, this is dating myself again, but when I was in school, one of the kids in our class, we do this project on music history. And anyways, long story short, it was on Queen, but he connected it to the fact that there's a lot of the heavy rock musicians are classically trained. And then he starts rhyming them off like, Eddie Van Halen.
Right.
Yeah.
What was I was watching Cobra Kai on Netflix. so bad. It really is just like, I like that they just lean into being so cheesy and campy and bad that it just makes it fun. But there's a part where he takes one of the students to a Dee Snider concert.
I didn't know that was a real show for the longest time. I thought it was just a commercial, like made up for that commercial where he does the online banking. I forget what it's called. There's an app where you can do online banking on your phone.
Right.
And he's talking about when I did Cobra Kai, and then, and now he does whatever it is now he does. Anyways, I thought it wasn't even a real show. I thought it was just like a made up commercial. Koala Kai or something. The commercial is.
Sorry, I'm emailing Tim because he's saying that he didn't get the link for some reason.
Oh, you know what? I put the link on that email that I sent to the other folks last night, but I didn't put Tim on it.
Yeah, it'd almost be good to do what we did in the spring, right? And have do that email blast in the morning.
Yeah, but I feel sorry. A lot of folks can't tune in right now, right? Because they're teaching.
Okay, I got the WKRP in Cincinnati theme for tomorrow, Denise.
I probably still have it somewhere on our thing. Should we give a few more minutes?
Yeah, let's just, I know that there's been a lot of people with technical difficulties today, so maybe we'll just give them a minute or two to get settled in.
Can we, which one doesn't belong while we're waiting?
Sure. I was
I'm
just
like
thinking
looking
that.
at this picture and I'm like, what's happening with number 4? I don't even understand it. There's 2 mics. So either you are or you aren't, but you're both.
I don't know. Maybe your mic is on, but your thing's not working. That happened to me when I was at Dresden last time doing our thing there with Heather Wark. Or the fire alarm goes on while you're doing the thing and you have to mute your mic.
Yep. I like the pajamas, though I don't have my pajamas on today. I wish I did.
Pajamas have become acceptable society. We're out in public.
Yep.
You know, you totally have them on below you, Denise.
No, I have track pants.
That's funny.
How are things going in the remote world, Gemma?
Good, really good, actually. So, yeah, we're doing a lot of today. Most of my day was filled with spec ed, which is really neat. A different lens, right, that I don't get to see a lot of. So resource teachers, we got together with them to talk to them about how they could support. And so we had over 50 resource teachers join in optionally, right? So that's a great thing that they signed in, and secondary resource teachers as well. So that was kind of neat.
So Derek says that do you have Derek Monroe's text, Jana? He says the link for the Zoom is in his .net and he can't access his .net email right now, his Outlook.
Oh, I don't think I have his phone number though.
The link for my Zoom is in my .net.
You know what? I do have his phone number. All right, I'll send it to him. I'll be back.
Well, maybe his .com is working right now then.
Well, and I have his text too. I'll get it from the
Okay.
the phone tree. Okay, I'll be back.
Thank you. Yep.
I think for a lot of people, the one that doesn't belong is definitely the no Wi-Fi. It sounds like from what I'm seeing that the Kojiko outage is pretty widespread. I saw that it was out all the way out to Kingston. So
Whoa.
I saw that was definitely a challenge. I saw lots of sad-looking teachers on this afternoon, pictures of saying waiting for my internet to come back on today. So definitely a challenge for everybody today that was knocked offline.
Okay, you want to just get started, Teen, and maybe they'll start trickling in?
Yeah, we'll rock and roll. We'll just we'll keep marching forward. Thank you to those of you that have already joined us. So we want to be respectful of your time as well. Okay, so this is session 2 of our remote learning support for our intermediate folks. So I'm Denise. Sorry, I'm not Teen. And I'd just like to start out by acknowledging that the land on which we are gathered is part of the traditional territory of the Chippewa, Odawa, Potawatomi, and Delaware nations. And by taking some time to acknowledge this, we are honoring the land. I am joined today by my I'm Denise Ladd. No, we kind of give ourselves a nickname of Tenise. So I'm Teen. I'm an instructional coach with the LKDSB. For those of you guys that don't know, I think we know everybody here today. We wanted to start today by sharing that there's been some amazing work across the district. Thank you to those of you that joined us, and as well as all the other educators and support staff that have joined our sessions. There's one for each. They're kind of divisional across all the different grades. And yesterday we had over 300 teachers. I think Ben said upwards of 360, I think it was, that engaged in our sessions yesterday. So thank you. Thank you. A huge thank you to our tremendously knowledgeable and experienced virtual learning teachers that joined into each session and shared advice and tricks, and kind of it really helped guide our teachers yesterday, as well as everyone just taking time out of their day to join us. I know most of you guys have been on screen with your students all day, and this is kind of an additional layer on top of that. And we really appreciate your commitment to your students, and thank you.
Absolutely. Well said. Okay, so moving forward with today's session, these are a few things that we are going to try and touch base with on and give you some information on. We're going to talk about sharing some of the routines that might be useful with online learning. We're going to talk about overcoming some tech issues, which I think is quite pertinent for today. And we're going to dig a little deeper into building our sense of community online that we brushed on yesterday. So we just like to start out today by just having you folks think about something interesting that happened to you today. If anybody wants to jump on the mic and talk about something interesting that happened about their day today, something that maybe surprised them.
So something that happened to me today, which is kind of crazy considering I have very few students who will come onto their mics and talk. I think I had about 60 to 75% of them interacting and talking to each other, like over our main meet, because usually I put out breakout rooms. But today they are interacting with each other. We're talking about monologues, and they're kind of going at each other, like helping each other out, which is something that I thought was pretty cool with my group.
Awesome. That was Todd. He's one of our virtual teachers. I don't think I had anything interesting happen to me today, Teen. How about you?
Interesting today has been today is my daughter's attends school in Thames Valley, so interesting for me was getting her set up today and into her Google Meet, and kind of watching how she was interacting and trying to figure out this new normal for her. So that was an interesting, like, yeah, I got to put on my parent hat and kind of be on the other side of it today. So that was interesting for me.
I have something. I don't know if this is interesting, but it's just kind of one of those things about virtual teaching and not having the eyes to see what's going on. But as you know, Kojiko went out today. So I had students that were kind of coming and going. And then when we figured out, oh, it's a Kojiko issue, and that message got to the kids, suddenly I had certain students disappear because they had Kojiko. So it was kind of funny, but that's one of those things, right? Like it's like, okay, but I just thought it was funny. So students were disappearing who didn't actually have Kojiko, and they were reporting their issues on their Google email while they were still in the meet. And I'm like, clearly you don't have Kojiko or you would not still be talking. But yeah.
That reminds me of like when we have snow days and the buses are running or the buses aren't running, and the students who don't take the bus don't come. So
yeah, that's right.
So it's good to know that that our students are consistent, if anything.
Mhm.
Yes, that's right. I guess they didn't think it was fair that some of their classmates got to be away from school and they didn't.
So I think we shared this yesterday, Teen. I think we're going to talk a little bit more about it today because it seems like it's kind of pertinent with what's going on today. But again, this is just a reminder that if your students are having any tech issues, they can't log on, they don't remember their password, anything like that, this is the email that you would send to the parents, and then the parents would have to email the student IT, and there are, I believe they said four people usually that are there, that their job is strictly to answer questions about virtual teaching. So they help you troubleshoot, reset passwords, all that fun stuff so that you can go on about your day teaching and not have to worry about that.
So this is something that we've been thinking a lot about is that, it's a little bit different than our virtual teachers who had to kind of start the year a little bit blind, right? When it's all virtual, we've had an opportunity to spend time with our students, and we have a much better understanding of who they are as people. We thought that these were some good points of reflection that we consider, like really kind of taking that sense of care that we show every day in the classroom and extending it to the online environment. So thinking about things like, are we greeting students by name when they appear in the classroom? And that was something that we saw our virtual teachers really doing well, as we were spending some time with them and watching it. Like they really did a good job of welcoming students as they came into the meet and recognizing them and kind of asking how they're doing and all of those things. Anything that you needed to add there, Denise?
No, I think it's just kind of how you can take something that you do kind of probably without thinking in the regular classroom, and how you can adapt that just a little bit to bring it to the virtual classroom. And I think students really appreciate that, right? I think if you go on, like it says, how many times did I use them by their name and not as a correction? So like you're just asking them a question and calling them by name. I think it's just something maybe to reflect on, like not every day, but something that you can look at, or when you want to start planning for tomorrow.
Yeah, I've also included this. There's a little tracking sheet. I don't know if that's something that you want to do. It's just something to kind of make us more aware of these things and kind of push us into kind of paying attention to these and making sure that all of our students are getting these kinds of positive interactions as we're really kind of like building that sense of community online.
Perfect. I think it's also good to note here that the chat is open. This is a regular Zoom session. So you type something in the chat, and Tina and I will check it, and we'll bring anything forward. You can always unmute your mic. That is an option for you here with these sessions because they're set up that way. So you can pop in and just ask your question or share any of your thoughts. We do have Melissa Holmes, Todd Hamaguchi, and Tim Maver here today. They are our virtual school teachers, and they are here as a sounding board. They're here to provide some experience and some wisdom on how to teach virtually. So they'll be popping on and just giving us some valuable information as we go.
Derek just joined us as well too. Welcome,
I was
Derek.
just going to say, yeah, Derek just was able to get in.
Awesome. Hello, Derek. How are you?
Pretty good. Just trying to figure out how this works on a phone.
How are you managing your tech issues, Mr. Monroe?
I don't know. I got too many machines rocking in Kingsville today.
You're draining all the Wi-Fi that's left there.
Oh.
Were you hit by the Kojiko today?
Yeah.
Oh boy. How did you go online with your students today then?
I did it in the middle block, and then I got back on right after lunch. So we were communicating by email. I just told them to work on assignment. If they have any questions, basically shoot them my way.
Yep.
If that ever happens again, you can change your DNS link.
It's too technical for me.
Yeah. That's Melissa Dent. She's also another virtual experience teacher joining us today.
She's in a different world compared to me with this stuff.
She's the tech problem solver there. Actually, Melissa, thanks for joining us today. The next thing we're going to talk about is a file that Melissa shared with us. And it's so one of the things that we're working on is building community. We wanted to share with you today. So this next example is called This or That. And so, team, this is a way that we thought we could. Go ahead.
Yeah, we were thinking about using kind of establishing structures that we can keep using. Right now, we're really kind of staying in that student wellness area where we're attending to community and those types of things. But we're also at the same time setting up structures for accessing content as we move forward. So what we're trying to do today is present some examples of how we can use these activities to establish some expectations in terms of things like modeling like wait time and having students engage in the chat and kind of setting that as an expectation right from the front. And then also helping students to really think about how to have respectful conversation online and learning about one another's likes and dislikes, as well as just really practicing those technical skills that they might not have developed because they spent most of their time face to face this year.
Perfect. So here is the slide. This is the this or that. So I would address students by saying, which one do you like better? Which one in your minds is the better food, spaghetti or pizza?
So we'll give you a minute of wait. We'll give a minute of wait time before anyone responds. Give everybody a little chance to think about it, consider their options here.
So are we turning camera on and off for our selections, or are you discussing?
Well, that's a great point, Melissa. And this is something that you could do with your class. So I'm thinking with the comfort level that we have going on here as a team, maybe we could all turn our cameras on and share whether we think pizza or spaghetti is better. If you so choose. If you don't, no problem.
So if I was doing it with the students, I would say option A, leave your camera off. Option B, leave your camera on, turn your camera on. And then it usually provokes discussion.
Right.
Thanks for the
tip. I'm clearly on pizza side.
And why? Why is that?
Because I can order it and I don't have to make it myself. And spaghetti's only good if you have a really good sauce, and that's too much work.
Oh, see, I will agree with you. I think pizza is better, but I think it's because I can basically customize it. I can make it be, you know, whatever I want on it today. If I want just veggies on my pizza today, then I can get one with just veggies. I can even make one that way myself if I so choose, but.
I lean towards pizza, but as I like consider this, I also think that spaghetti reheats better. It actually tastes better the second day, whereas pizza for me is only good when it's fresh out of the oven.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of cold pizza, I will agree. And I'm not even a fan of reheated pizza, but.
I like pizza because I can't eat spaghetti. It just reminds me of worms. I've never been able to eat spaghetti. Sorry if I've ruined spaghetti for anyone else, but I really can't eat it. I make it for my family and I always have something else.
So we've heard of people being visual learners. You're a visual eater, Melissa.
Yes, definitely. I definitely am.
What do you guys think about Todd's point here? Pizza Hut pizza is the best second day pizza, no doubt.
It's the crust. It's all about that crust.
I love pizza
Yeah.
the next day. It's my ultimate. I prefer it the next day cold for breakfast, but I've never done Pizza Hut pizza for the next day. I'll have to try it.
It was one of my go-tos growing up. I would say I'm leaning towards pizza just because I'm pretty much pretty fresh out of university, and there was a lot of spaghetti meals. So I've had my fair share.
Okay, I can see that. I can see that.
Tim's throwing down the gauntlet. He says only psychos reheat pizza.
That's kind of fair.
That's so sociopathic, Tim. Is that what you're thinking?
So again, like this is modeling wait time is hard. I think it's hard in a classroom. I would be curious to know what our virtual teachers say about the wait time online. Do you find that really difficult?
It's like you're holding a seance all the time. Oh, sorry, Todd, did I totally jump on?
Oh no, you're good to go.
But it's like holding a seance. But what I found is it's essential to give them options. They're not necessarily comfortable turning their camera on so you can see their face. Sometimes they're cool doing it in the chat, but I also have to give them the option to answer it in a different way privately.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah. comfort level, right? It's the comfort level of your students.
Can we go
I
back?
found-
Sorry, Todd. Can you speak, Todd? Can you speak a little bit more about, like, I'm just thinking about your interesting moment today from where everybody, like, jumped on with their cameras. Like, can you tell us a little bit more about what was unique about that activity, or kind of like, what do you think the reason for that today was?
Well, because we did it near the end of like right before Christmas break, where we had kind of just like, because I'm like, oh, like I'm seeing a picture, or I'm seeing you as like a letter. I don't have a face to your name.
Mhm.
So at one point we said, if you go on, like, you get a bonus mark, which I just threw up whatever. And then, so like a lot of kids kind of started going on, and I think they're getting more comfortable with that. I've also done it where if I'm doing like assigning or do a lesson and then assign work, I'll bring kids one-on-one, and then we kind of warm up to the idea of using your mic and then using your camera. And I've been successful with 2 or 3 of them that have been, because they were completely chat, but now they're mic all the time. And some of them are like starting to go camera way more.
Cool. Thank you for sharing.
Okay.
Can I say something about the camera?
For sure.
If you have students who live in the country or who do experience Wi-Fi issues, or if you are streaming a video, and the video, by the way, needs to always be streamed, not at high, but at lower resolution, so that you're not pulling so much data, it might be necessary to turn the cameras off. So although it's awesome to see all the students' faces, when we do too much of that, I get students who get booted all the time.
Okay, that's a good point. Yep.
Especially in the intermediate classes, because our classes are a lot bigger. Like I've seen some of the primary teachers are able to, they have the smaller classes, so it's maybe easier. But when you're getting like 30 plus people on a meet, it gets
They
difficult.
started us at 40. Remember, Melissa?
Yes.
Like half of them having IEPs, because intermediates are like.
Yes. Yep. That was it. And then you're to get them all on the screen too. Their pictures are so tiny anyway. It just, oh, sorry, I got a student asking a question.
No, go ahead.
I
Real
love
life
that we're bringing the real.
support there, folks.
Yeah. We're bringing the real to this session. It's awesome.
Team, never invite me unless you want me to actually say what I think. Okay.
I would expect nothing else,
Yes.
Melissa. Thank you for joining
That's
us.
what we enjoy. So we just thought we'd put this one back up because this was from yesterday. Just we're curious how things went today for our bricks and mortars folks that were actually online today, because today was your first full day teaching. So we're just wondering, did you accomplish what you thought you were going to get accomplished today? Did you not? Did you need more? We're wondering how it worked. If you could touch base with your curriculum partners, like how they joined into your meet, anything like that. So if anybody would like to type in the chat or jump on their mic and just share.
Yeah, I had some discussions with some teachers about just kind of like thinking about pacing, right? Was how much in a given amount of time, what is a reasonable expectation? So if you guys have any advice, our remote teachers or those of you that are joining us as classroom teachers that are transitioning, do you have any thoughts or questions around that?
Did everybody, did I share the link with everybody of the short DPA 5-minute activities that you can do, brain breaks and things?
Are you talking to the virtual teachers, Melissa, or Tina and I, or who are you talking to there? I don't think I.
No, so it is on the website, but let me go grab it and I'll share it with you so that you can have an extra doc.
I'll put it in the show notes.
Right, we should talk about that too, team, before we forget. So we have we call it our show notes, and that any links or resources that we talk about or somebody brings forward during the session, we put a copy of the links in the show notes so that it's there for you to go to. And we also have in the show notes for this session this week, we put all the past resources from last year's intermediate office hours with and it's be added to every time that we have a session or any resources that are shared with us.
Yeah, you cut out a little bit there. I don't know if that was just for me or for everybody, Denise. But yeah, everything that we keep in the show notes, we keep a running document. So every session that we've done in the spring up to this point is archived there.
It was probably me that cut out. My son's now home. He's probably on the Wi-Fi. Yeah. Okay, and I know this is something that was addressed yesterday, just touch base again with our virtual teachers, that at the beginning, what you planned was always way too much. And that's one of the things that they learned as they went through, and the experience was, go slow when you're online, take your time, and, plan day to day, because you'll always need to probably refresh something that you didn't quite get to today, tomorrow.
See, I see Mr. Hewitt's here, and I know he knows my love of Venn diagrams.
Hey team, and Denise, can I can I jump in about one
Yeah,
thing?
absolutely, please.
Sure.
Yeah. It's especially with the outages that happened today, like my experience over the past few months has been that teachers feel a lot of pressure to perform and to make sure that kids are given a lot of things. But in reality, like parents are very overwhelmed, especially like the ones that are transitioning right now to the learn at home. And they could probably use a bit of a break, right? Like, because especially with the younger kids, they're having to sit next to their kid the whole time. And they would probably appreciate like just some easy things just to keep their kids engaged for a little while, and then just without the added pressure, right? I had a parent emailing me all day about her kid like not being able to get on. I just said, like, I emailed her back and said, listen, I don't care, like just take the day, right? Like it's whatever your daughter needs to get caught up on, like, is going to be minimal at most. We're not really doing a whole lot with so many kids with their disconnection issues. And she was just very relieved, right? Like she's just, okay, great, thanks, we'll treat it as a PA day. But I think she felt pressure that she needed to perform as the parent and like communicate to me that they're doing their best and yada yada yada, and it's not necessary.
Right. No, that's a great point. Mental health is huge, right? Like, and I mean, everybody's got to look after themselves.
Yeah, and everyone's just kind of
it's
working
slow.
through this thing, right? Yeah, this lovely, very complex looking Venn diagram. It was just something we wanted to front load a little bit, is that you guys do such a great job virtually and face to face of creating great educational experiences for kids. And it's because you think of these kind of three big areas, right? You're thinking about like, the social aspect of learning, you're thinking about the cognitive part, the curriculum, and then you're thinking about how you're going to teach it. And all of those things are really important. And it's something that we kind of want to extend that thinking when we move into remote learning as well. And so we're kind of focusing in on that social presence right now. We're thinking about we need to attend to that piece and really kind of like design that part intentionally so that we can get kids into the into the content itself, and we're going to do that through our teaching and cognitive presences. So we'll look more at this kind of over the week, but we just kind of wanted to kind of set it up as to why we're looking at this.
And I think that's a good point, because great things that happen in the classroom, they don't transfer well over to online, and vice versa. There's great things you can do online that they'd fall apart in the classroom, right? So from this point on, like, I think we'd like to just spend some time leaning on our virtual folks right now, and wondering if you can share any, this is Tuesday, this is really the first full day for our bricks and mortars teachers to be online. And we're just wondering if you could just share any ways that you found really seem to hit home with intermediate students, and getting them to just become a community online, even if it is just for a brief time, how to keep those connections going. Todd, you shared a few before about, the giving points for being on your camera, and
Yeah, so the first thing that I did with this group, because I was with a group that was in face to face that transitioned to online.
Okay.
So it was like brand new world to all of us. And so that first week was really getting to know each other. So any activity that I did where it was like me getting to know them, my examples were all about me. So that way they got a sense of who I was, kind of thing.
Mhm.
And just like going from then on, it's been like small group conversations or one-on-ones, just like get them warmed up and comfortable with talking and stuff.
Mhm.
But like my group, they're always in the chat talking to each other. The one day because we had a breakout room and they were on probably till like, they said they were talking to each other like 4:30. I said, you guys have some schoolwork, but I'm glad you guys are like getting your social aspect too, because like all of them said they miss their friends, they miss talking to people. I'm like, well, you guys are in a class, you guys can still talk to each other here. And I think that idea is starting to really cement with them. So they're starting to warm up to each other and talk like over mics and on cameras. And they're like, oh, like what's your Snapchat? What's your Instagram? What's your gamer tag? So they're starting to go outside of school, which I find is really cool with this group.
Yeah.
Because they are from all over. Like I have Sarnia kids, Chatham kids. Like I have a girl from Windsor. So
Oh, wow.
it's been pretty neat.
So do you find that works better when it's in a smaller group setting then, Todd?
I find that so far it's kind of been me like egging them on to get to do stuff, but now it's starting to become where they're going at each other about it. Like they're like, hey, like what'd you do here? Or like what'd you do this? One kid who I haven't seen on camera or heard, he's like, if you ask me to do a voice reveal, I'll do a voice reveal. So all the kids are like, they're going on, do a voice reveal, do a voice reveal. Like, I'll go on cam if you do it. So they're starting getting to each other, which is kind of cool.
Awesome.
I see Myers has their hand up. Go ahead.
Oh, that would be me.
I thought it was you, Madame. How you doing?
I'm good. I'm an online teacher too. Can I talk even though I haven't been called on?
Oh, of course.
1,000 apologies.
Please.
You know what? All I see is Myers on the screen, Colette. I did not know it was you. Yeah.
It's me.
Welcome.
As far as thank you. As far as the online community, Melissa posted a bunch of activities in the fall, and they were just awesome, like a locker thing, anytime that the kids can talk about themselves. But in September, I found that doing a mask activity, combining it with art and then presenting what was on their mask was a good way for them to get to know each other. So just little things like that. And like what Todd mentioned, during async time, they need to visit with each other. So the first 3 weeks, that's what I did during async time. Yes, they could ask me questions, but it was a time for them just to talk to each other. And it's also important that the teacher be there and just monitor the discussions. But yeah, that was a great way for them to get to know each other. Thanks.
Yeah, no, perfect. Thanks for jumping on, Colette.
Yep.
I'm glad you're here.
Can I mention a little bit about building relationships?
Yes.
I was super worried. I was terrified that it would be impossible to build the same relationships in a classroom, because those of you that know me know I come across better in person than I do on a screen. But I was amazed within the first week. There are huge advantages to online teaching. So I had a student who we watched kittens being born. I had students who have never actually physically met in real life who are now best friends that, you know, communicate and play. But play is the primary way that the community has been built. So we've played Among Us during async time, or during, you know, for math purposes. We do Minecraft EDU. If we do quizzes, there's all kinds of opportunities for play where kids will interact where they won't otherwise.
That's awesome. Yeah, like it's stuff that you never would have thought about, that if we weren't thrown in this particular environment that we're in, that you never would have experienced, right, Melissa? I love it.
And I'm just thinking a lot about what Melissa's saying and how we can kind of help bridge that by some of the tools that we're able to offer, as well as like that idea of play, is that we have math games that we can share with people, as well as there's like just those board games that are built into, that people have built on a Jamboard and on Google Slides, that would be a great way to help foster, like, you know, to foster that sense of community through play. Thanks, Melissa.
Oh, teen, yes. That was the other thing I was going to say. So if you're uncomfortable doing breakout rooms because, you know, it's your first time or whatever, using Jamboard, you can have different kids on different slides, and they love those coloring ones where you give them a line and then they have to build something and then build on each other's, and it's a great way to start conversations, and you as a teacher can see everything at once and see what each group is doing.
Great tip.
Perfect. Thank you. So I think you've, you know, raised some great points, virtual teachers, that I think it's important that we just reiterate again that you remember, keep it simple, take things slow this week for our bricks and mortar people. Expect tech issues, which clearly is kind of an understatement, I guess, considering what happened today. But I want to just take a few minutes. So with our virtual folks, when you have tech issues, do you have any, like, there's things like log out and try and log back in again? There's just give it some wait time if something's lagging. Does anybody have any other little quick tips that might help our bricks and mortars folks if they run into issues? Tech. I mean, we gave the email for the tech support too.
The big thing is they have to be signed in, like on
day plan, and then showed it and presented. Like, the kids will step up to the plate when you're having tech issues and help you out.
So you're saying at the beginning of the day, Melissa Dent, you show kind of like what your day is going to look like?
They have a link to the day plan. Okay. So at any time, if I like today, they were like, Mrs. Dent, you're still not on. How about I'll show the math starter and we'll start talking about it.
Oh, cool. Yeah. That's awesome. Yep. Tim, you were saying something there. Sorry.
A lot of the tech issues can be solved by the kids just making sure they're signed onto their devices or onto like Google Chrome in their LKDSB.com account.
That is key. I know there was a lot of problems with that at the beginning of the year with you folks. You're not on your .com account. You're trying to log in somewhere and it's not working. Okay, so right now we're wondering if anybody, our time's running out. We have to be off our session by 10 to 3 to give the folks that are doing the 3 o'clock session time to get their Zoom set up. And we want to know if anybody, while we're waiting here, has any questions that they would like to have answered by our virtual teachers. So while we're finishing up here, if anybody wants to type in the chat a question or come on and unmute themselves, we have some experts here that are willing to share their knowledge and their experience. And I think the last thing I feel like we need to say, Tina, is that people need to give themselves permission to kind of be flexible during this week of virtual teaching and learning, because it's going to be some learning curves for everyone, students and teachers.
That's a great point, Denise. You have to be flexible and kind with yourself. Treat yourself as kind and as gentle as you do the students. Everybody's going to have tech issues, and you just have to go slow and be understanding. That's all. But the 2 tips for intermediate, if I could give a couple.
Of course.
Make sure that you're first on Google Meet so that you have control. And I turned off the chat for a little bit just because there was some inappropriate, not on task comments that I would have gladly taken, during async time. But once I turned it off and they were without it for a bit, I turned it back on and they're handling it much more responsibly. So yeah, make sure you have control of the Meet. And I reset it every day in my Google Classroom so that they can't do it at 8 o'clock at night without supervision, sort of thing. And I don't make it visible to them until half an hour before the Meet. I found that has really helped with the intermediates.
It's surprising how quickly they can figure out little loopholes, to make your life.
They're
Yeah.
tech savvy, man. Wow. And I've learned a lot from them. And, that's another beauty of the async time. They, can teach me how to double screen things. And so,
Mhm.
so it's a give and take. They're a great group.
For sure. Thanks, Colette.
Yeah, thank you.
I don't ever record the meets because that's a privacy breach and there's huge concerns with that. But I do get a copy of each of the Google Chats every day so that I can go through for assessment purposes and see who answered and who didn't. And the kids are aware of that. So they know that everything they put in the chat is recorded and documented by me.
Thanks, Melissa. Just to be clear, I don't record the meetings either. I don't want to be in the blue pages.
Oh God, no, I wasn't suggesting you did. I was
Okay.
just making a point to not do it. No, I know you wouldn't do that.
Oh God, no. Thank you.
I'm just wondering if Tim, if you're still here, you posted in the chat about how you and Matt Welch kind of team teach and you kind of have a conversation in the meet. Could you talk more about that?
Yeah. So like Matt and I both teach grade 8. And for those of us that know Steve and I teach together at Winston Churchill, grade 7, 8. And I've always felt better, teaching with a partner. When I was at P.E. McGibbon, I taught with Cam Gordon and Joel Ainsworth. And I find that when, especially online, if the students can see you conversing with another adult online, it's like modeling, right? You're modeling what's appropriate conversation. You're modeling, how to have fun on the internet, that it's okay to, show what you look like or, any of those kinds of things. Right. And assuming that you and that your partner have that kind of relationship. And that's just, I find that modeling that kind of behavior is the best way to get kids kind of engaged in conversation and engaged in what you're doing. And also just to add, I do record lessons. I record my math lesson. I just make sure that I pin myself to the math lesson. Right. So that's the only thing that's seen. I'm the only one that has access to the recording. And obviously if something happened in the recording that I, probably shouldn't be in the recording, then I just wouldn't use that recording.
So then you have any students that want to look at it again, if they want to see the lesson again, or is it strictly for you, Tim?
No, absolutely. I post it to my lessons afterwards. So any lesson that I post on Google Classroom in which you can post instructional videos. So we do my blueprint. A lot of kids have difficulty navigating it. So I would record me showing how to use my blueprint and what I want them to do for the assignment, right? Share my screen that way, it's recorded. And then in the assignment, I attach that recording right from my Google Drive because your meet recordings get saved right in your Google Drive account. Which again, you're the only one that has access to it. I mean, other than our IT department. So, you can control whether, those things go out to your classroom or not.
I think that's also a good tip for supporting those families that are choosing option number 2, as well as, if you've got that lesson recorded, you can send it and share with them and they can do it asynchronously. So great tip.
You bring up the point that you forget when you're online that it's not the same as in the classroom and you have all of those differentiated learners. So you have to post everything, write everything, and say everything. So you still got to do the oral, do the written, and do the image, video, documentation, and icons for those kids that need it.
That's a very good point, Melissa. And then you probably, you virtual teachers are probably very comfortable then also having the small breakout room so that those kids that need a little bit more one-on-one, you then can take them to a separate breakout room and give them
I always have a help dent or a dent help open, and they know they can pop into there to ask questions privately if they need to. But everything you do in the classroom, everything has to be documented in Google Classroom. If you do an off-the-cuff comment of there's a bonus mark on, my kids will call me on it if that's not posted in the classroom.
Hey, that means they're listening. That means
Accountability.
So here is the access to our show notes, and team we're gonna probably put that in the chat for you, that link. And it's ongoing. So I know somebody posted in the chat about getting access to yesterday's show notes. It's the same document. We just add to it as it goes. And So then, and the ones from last year are on there as well. So I guess the last thing that we would kind of be interested in asking the folks here today is, we have our valuable resources here in our virtual teachers, and we do thank you for coming. If anybody has anything that they would really like to be talked about in our next sessions, please email Todd or Teen or myself. You can email Todd too if you want. And
Sure, get to us.
We can get those things covered in our sessions.
Yeah, I tossed that into the chat as well. We don't want to be prescriptive, so we want to kind of go wherever our teachers' needs are, and making sure we're supporting in the right ways. So if we're thinking about things like, I'm curious about how to. So how would you finish that sentence? A tech tool I want to know more about, or my students need help with. That will really help us to kind of prepare some resources and get things together for our sessions for the rest of the week. So if you want to shoot that over to us or send us an email or a quick text message, please feel free.
And I know we did share yesterday that even though this session, particularly remote learning, is just going to be a week long, so it seems, and we're just also planting the seed that if it happens to come again, we should be able to pick up and carry on from where we left off. So we want to take some time to set those ground rules, talk about your expectations, talk about routines, just so that if it happens to go this way again sometime in the next couple months, we're kind of a little bit prepared for it and we've already set some of our ground rules. So I would like to, I would try to put answers to teachers' questions. Oh, yeah, and Melissa Dent, thank you. Yep. We do appreciate our virtual teachers taking time out of your day to come here. You are going to be the go-to for knowledge on this particular aspect. And our teachers that showed up today, I want to thank you. We realize that this was your long day. This was day one online with your students for most of the day, and hope things went well. And again, if you have any questions, email Teen or myself, and we'll be happy to hear from you. So Todd, Melissa, Colette, Tim, Derek. I think I got them all. Help me out, Teen. Did I get them all?
I think you got everybody.
Our virtual teachers. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you for coming.
Really,
hope you come back tomorrow. Hint, hint.
Yes.
Wink. Yeah.
Please. Everybody be safe. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. We will see you tomorrow.
Bye, everyone.
Take care.